And good Monday evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday night edition of Weather Warriors on the start of this brand new work week. Todd Warren here in the NBC6 Forecast Center with details on what's ahead of us weather-wise. Just a warning here, you're not going to like what you hear here in the next 20 minutes for the most part. Although there is some good stuff, better stuff, I should say. So coming up tonight, we'll discuss that, what's coming up in a second. But you can see the heat today. We did make it to 97 degrees this afternoon in Shreveport. 96 degrees was the high temperature in Texarkana. Hotspot came in from Longview today at 99. 98 degrees was the high temperature this afternoon in Marshall. Outside right now, we do have a clear to partly cloudy sky. Quite a few high clouds across the area. We did have another decent sunset across the region. Anytime we have the high clouds, that's usually the case. And tonight, no exception. Here's what's coming up tonight. As it does look like we are looking at the influence of upper level high pressure, which is going to dominate our weather pattern here for at least the next 2 weeks, possibly longer. And it does look like because of that, rain will be very limited. It's quite likely, as you'll see when we get to grain of salt time tonight, that most of the area could stay totally dry for the next 10 days. And it does look like on the horizon we have an extended period of triple-digit heat. It's possible that we can measure this almost in weeks. Not, 14 days, but nonetheless, more than a week is what is possible. You'll see that here in a second. Of course, we did see some rain, quite a bit of it, over the northern, quarter of the area over the weekend. I'll show you how that has impacted the burn bands across the area. And it does look like the tropics are beginning to wake up just a touch. And, of course, we'll take you out a couple weeks with a look at the Atlantic Basin here. So that's what's coming up tonight. And, of course, one thing I didn't mention here, that it is Monday. That means that it is grain of salt night, the latest 6-week outlook, which will take us through the first 2/3 of September. And here is where you might like what you see to a certain degree. If you have a question or a comment watching on my Facebook page, feel free to ask away. If you're watching on the KTAL Now app live, thanks, I do appreciate it. Of course, if you're watching on my Facebook page, just want to say hello. That's great too, as it is tradition to begin the festivities with our hellos. And first on board tonight, as usual, is Brian. Hello there, Brian. Hopefully you had a decent weekend. Rusty says, good evening from near Walter Jacob Park there near Blanchard. Thanks, Rusty, for watching tonight. Lewis says, good evening. Good evening to you, Lewis. Nita says, good evening from Wood County. I remembered it tonight. Nita. Dylan, hello to you. Gary says hi. Hello there, Gary. Rusty said we had some really high winds here with Saturday. Yes, that was outflow that came through. I was estimating gusts over 30 at my house. And I was just, as soon as that outflow came through, I just knew I was going to be missed. And sure enough, I got a little bit of a trace. That was it. I even started the grill. Usually when I start the grill, it pours down. That was not the case this time. So anyway, Austin says, in Plano, Texas, is there a solar eclipse? No solar eclipse, Austin. We do have the Perseids meteor shower, which are underway. If I have time tomorrow, I'll look at when the peak is going to be. So that may be with the lack of clouds. The good thing about the upper level ridge, we'll have better viewing for that. Dylan says, ready for October for the heat to go away. Hopefully. Nice addition there, hopefully there, Dylan. Eric says now 91 degrees in Colbert, Oklahoma, near Lake Texoma, west of the Arklatex. 100 degrees there today. And you're watching Reba McEntire live from Madison Square Garden. Interesting. Well, thanks for tuning in, taking a break from that, Eric, and tuning in tonight. Aaron says hello from Wright City, Oklahoma. Hello there, Eric or Aaron. Hopefully you're having a nice day. Hopefully Brad up there in WCOK is working the air conditioner. So anyway, let's take a look at, got a lot on the docket, so I better get going. And you can see that upper level ridge is going to be the dominating feature. We have one lobe of it right here. The second one you can see outlined here over Florida. And this does extend right over the top of the Arklatex. There is a little bit of a disturbance. You can see the counterclockwise spin in the particles here over southeast Texas. That was why we did see a few spotty showers to our south and even over the southern sections of the area. That activity has since wrapped up, and that's going to move off towards the east or towards the west, and this ridge is going to center itself right over us during the rest of the work week, and then it will intensify. This lobe of it is going to intensify and expand to the west this weekend, resulting in the beginning of what could be several days of triple-digit heat that you'll see in Great Assault Time here in a second. Meantime, take a look at the surface map, and you can see right on top of that ridge, that's where the main chance for strong to severe thunderstorms will be here for the next several days. And notice, underneath the ridge, not a whole lot of action going on, as we're going to stay quiet here over the southern plains and lower Mississippi Valley, while it stays rather stormy up there in the Ohio Valley. Chris up there in Lima, Ohio is going to be dealing with some storms, it looks like. And moving into Wednesday, you can see a continued chance for the severe weather across the Midwest, extending into the eastern seaboard, while here at home, we're just going to bake with plenty of sunshine. Take you through Thursday, pretty much the same story, as we will see the sunshine here. That frontal system up north, you can see it's not going to make a whole lot of progress. And even heading into Friday, we're going to stay pretty much quiet, as we're under the death ridge, as Josh likes to call it, is rearing its ugly head, and it's going to be at its strongest that we've seen more than likely this summer here at the end of this week and beginning of next week. Aaron says, where is the rain? They got some Friday in Broken Bow. You got missed there, Aaron. Would you believe up here in Sevier and Howard counties, I looked at radar estimates for 4 to 6 inches up there over the weekend. Texarkana, I looked at, I think it said 3 inches, something like that. So much of southwest Arkansas got a decent amount of rain. You were like me, apparently, Aaron. You got missed. Yes, Rusty. It is coming. All right, let's take a look at up close and personal here with the models. Latest hourly run of the HRRR showing quiet weather tonight. The clouds you see here are the high clouds that we currently have in place. So call it basically mostly clear tonight. And tomorrow we will see plenty of sunshine across the area as we take you out through Friday here with Robbins Toyota Futurecast. We will see the sunshine tomorrow. Mostly clear sky tomorrow night. Lots of sunshine for Wednesday. And temperatures tomorrow similar to today. We start to amp up the heat Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with more sunshine. Temperatures likely will be in the upper 90s, and we'll probably start hearing more about the heat index during the last half of the week as well. You can see it's a little bit on the breezy side here over the next couple of days, very similar to what we experienced today. We'll see quiet weather Thursday night. And on Friday, again, we close the week with temperatures flirting with 100 degrees, as temperatures will be in the upper 90s for daytime highs, probably Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as I mentioned. And then we hit possibly the triple digits this weekend. Brad's, hopefully have you turned on the AC, Brad? Hopefully you have, because you don't want to mess with this stuff here when we're talking triple digits. Gene says, tropics getting active, but hopefully wind shear will kill him. That is something I will discuss here, Gene. It does look like the system that you may have noticed out in the Atlantic. I believe the Hurricane Center has a 70% chance of a depression forming. Two things are going to happen with that. It will probably be limited in how much it will strengthen, and it does look like it's going to curve to the north and northeast before coming anywhere near the Gulf. So speaking of the tropics, so let's do that. Good segue there, Gene. Perfect timing. And you can see the outlooks here from the National Hurricane Center. This should say 10. I don't know why it changed. But nonetheless, you can see, I know why, because this one's right on top of it. Anyway, you can see the 70% chance for this disturbance, which has just come off of Africa. There is another disturbance up here in the farther north that has a small chance of maybe developing, but it's looking very, very unlikely. So, and you can see no action here in the Caribbean or the Gulf. There is quite a bit of shear here that extends from right in here. So that's one reason why it's been very quiet in the Caribbean so far this tropical season, And another thing, too, is that there's quite a bit of dust, which is that you'll see here in a second coming off of Africa. So here is the first week, and you can see that system coming. And the red is the European model. So that's where it has the system. What is it? Is Cristobal or Chantal? I think it's Cristobal would be the C name. I looked that up last week, and names in my memory, one ear and out the other. Anyway, this is the GFS, so you can see both have something developed. The GFS is indicating a turn to the north sooner. Take you through week 2, and you can see it may impact Bermuda, but nowhere near the east coast of the U.S. the way things look right now from both the GFS and the European. And after that, there's really no more worries here as we go through the rest of the 2-week period. This will take us through August 24th. No other possibilities of tropical development in the Atlantic, Caribbean, or over the Gulf. Oh, come on, Brad. Hope you got to turn that AC on, man. Hopefully it isn't broken and you have a choice. All right, well, let's move on and show you the Saharan dust. Last week, you might recall Thursday, it looked like we might see some late this week, and it's still showing some late this week and this weekend, and then it kind of disperses. And you can see at the beginning of this loop how dense, all right, the dust is, and how it kind of dissipates somewhat, and there doesn't look like there's as much coming off of Africa after that. So may see this decrease just a bit here, which typically happens as we get closer to September. All right, so let's move on and go to grain of salt time here. And again, this will include temperatures and rainfall for the next 6 weeks. As first, we're going to show you the pattern for the next 2 weeks. And you can see the upper level ridge and how the center of it gradually moves towards the east. So it's right over us here by Wednesday. Now watch how these reds get darker. That's the ridge strengthening heading into Friday and the weekend. And it will be probably, once it reaches that point, it doesn't look like it's going to weaken that much. This is Monday, so it extends from the southern Rockies to right over the top of the Arklatex. All the thunderstorms will remain well to the north on the outer edges of this ridge. And take you out to week 2, and you can see what happens here. It does look like it will migrate temporarily to the west, and we may see, but it really won't do so enough to give us any hope of significant rain. And then heading into the end of this 2-week period, it kind of returns and settles right back over the top of us as we move into next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend. And you probably noticed not much from the European here as far as a rainfall across the area. We might see a chance somewhere in that 10 to 14 day window when the ridge center is further to the west, but those chances will be very, 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 very small. All right, let's get to the details on the burn bans. And I mentioned the heavy rain up here. For some reason, Sevier County got taken off my map here. But nonetheless, Sevier County is still under a burn ban, as are these counties here in East Texas and northwest Louisiana, DeSoto Parish. So again, the only counties in southwest Arkansas in our viewing area not under a burn ban are, as I just looked at the Forestry Service listings for that, are Little River and Nevada counties are not under a burn ban. I would suspect that here in the next couple of weeks, this map is going to get much more red given the outlook you're going to see here in a second. Speaking of rainfall, here's why. This is Futurecast taking us through Friday. Absolutely nothing from Futurecast, rainfall-wise, through Friday. Let's take you out a little farther. 7 days from the Weather Prediction Center. Absolutely nothing as far as rainfall. Let's take you out 10 days. This is from the blend of models. And you can see that they are showing, might as well just say absolutely nothing. Those locations that get rain, maybe 100th. That'll evaporate in 5 minutes. So 10 days out, pretty much absolutely nothing. Let's take you out 2 weeks. This is the compilation of a couple of the globals and ensembles. And you can see the numbers, again, 2-week period, we should get a little over 1.4 inches in 2 weeks. We may get, if we're lucky, a quarter of that. You can see throughout the high and low in De Queen, and you're looking at maybe a couple tenths. Same thing for Texarkana, 1 or 2 tenths. Shreveport, if we're lucky, maybe a quarter of an inch. And in Natchitoches, it looks like you could be a quarter to a half an inch. So the model's showing a little bit better chance, probably because of sea breeze stuff. That makes it far enough north to impact Natchitoches. So moral of the story here is the next 2 weeks are going to be extremely dry. And that'll be reflected here as we look at the EPS 6-week outlook. And I broke this down in terms of above or below normal. And you can see which weeks will feature the most rainfall below normal. And that will be the next 2 weeks. So if we get through the next 2 weeks, we should start to see the rainfall get closer to normal during that last week of August. And we actually could begin September with a little bit above normal rainfall, which we tend to get more rain in September anyway. So that surplus is not enough to overcome the deficit that we're going to experience here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So kind of a half and half, first 3 weeks of the 6-week period, below normal rainfall and well below normal rainfall here for the next 2 weeks, and then slightly above normal rainfall during the first 3 weeks of September. What does this mean as far as how much? All right, well, let's take a look at the accumulation possibilities from the EPS ensembles. Again, normal in Shreveport during the next 6 weeks is 4.24 and a quarter. And you can see the numbers did increase some from when I showed you these last Thursday, and are closer to normal across the northern part of the area. You can see Shreveport 3.3, 3.6 in Texarkana. So at least 3 inches, but still 4 and a quarter is normal. So it looks like when you add it all up, in the next 6 weeks, the below normal rainfall likely will continue. All right, Brad says, don't even use a window fan. Wow. You are tough, Brad. Yeah, that's all I can say. Be careful, though. Make sure you stay hydrated in this heat. Mitch says, did our check for our weather modifications bounce? Oh, I guess that's a joke. I'm trying to make sense of it. Nita is smiling, I guess. All right, let's move on and show you temperatures here. This is the next 2 weeks. This is the part at the beginning I told you you're not going to like. And you can see the upper 90s as soon as Wednesday. We flirt with 100 degrees Thursday, Friday. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days of triple digits, according to the European ensembles. Look at the nighttime lows, low 80s. We don't like that. And I think those are probably too warm, given the lack of moisture in the ground. Probably mid-upper 70s for lows during the middle of this 2-week period. And also notice that we start to take the edge off the heat a little bit towards the end of the 2 weeks. So this pretty much matches well with what you're going to see when we talk the 6-week grain of salt outlook. Okay, I got to get going. It's time is flying on me. Here's the GFS ensembles, even hotter, 102 to 105. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What just easier just to. There's only one day of the 13 days of triple digit heat if the GFS ensembles are correct. Notice the lows too, not quite as warm in the middle 70s for the most part. All right, here's what the EPS ensemble is showing for the next 6 weeks. Again, how this works. This is the average temperature for the week ending next Monday. So this week, 75. The following week, 78. The length of the bar is determined by how far that number is above normal or below normal. So you can see we get closer to normal as we head into September, but the temperatures get cooler. That's because the normal temperatures are starting to fall. At the end of this 6-week period, the normal high will be 88. The normal low, I think, 64. So this is the good side of it. So we're near the peak. We're actually at the peak of the typical summer heat. We start to cool off, and you can see what this means for daytime highs. 97 this week for the average high. 100 degrees next week, which actually may be a little bit too cool. And you can see that the high temperature that last week will average out to be 89. So we will stay above normal here for the next 6 weeks, but the worst of it will probably be next week. So get ready for that. It does look like next week is going to be the worst. Norm Gary is tuning in once again from Palm Springs. No rain yet, huh? But you got that humidity. Gary, let me look at your numbers here. I do have that up and ready to go. Temperature-wise, let's see. It looks like 102, the coolest high. That'll be this Thursday. The hottest day will be 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today, 109. And the coolest night will be 76 Friday morning. So that's what it looks like as far as temperatures. And this is showing some rain for the next few days. And then again, maybe towards the end of the 2-week period, maybe a 10th in the next few days, maybe another 10th in the next 2 weeks. So it's not goose eggs, Gary. But there's that monsoon that you talked about, which is kicking in. Let's see what else. Let's see. Gary doesn't like the humidity. I'm sorry to hear that, Gary. You should come visit us for a few days. We'll show you some humidity. Oh, too bad. Too bad it's all around you. If you're going to be humid, Gary, you might as well get some rain, right? All right, let's move on and show you, first of all, heat index for the next week. Notice that we'll be flirting with 105 over the next several days. We could see that heat index between 105 and 110 starting on Friday, and that's going to continue probably through all of next week. So that being said, here's my forecast as it is getting late. Tonight, looking at a mostly clear sky with the high clouds. 75 degrees tonight in Texarkana, 73 in DeQueen, up in Idabel, 75 degrees also in Mount Pleasant. In Shreveport, right around 76, as we'll be in the mid-70s over East Texas and Northwest Louisiana. Normal low, you can see 74, and we'll be a few degrees above that in Shreveport. Normal high is 96. We'll be at 96 in Texarkana, 97 in Magnolia, 96 degrees in Atlanta. In Shreveport, right around 96 and 97 degrees for the high temperature in Marshall. And your 10-day forecast looks like this. Upper 90s, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can see right around 100 to 101 Saturday through next Thursday, and we very well could see those triple digits last into next weekend. Nighttime lows creeping up into the upper 70s. Gary says, you're quite welcome, Gary, and you stay cool too, and I would say enjoy the humidity since you never see it, but I know it's hot, so I won't say that. Anyway, that will officially do it for me tonight, folks. But before I go, Big B is standing by to hear tonight's offering of humor. So here it is. All right, here it is. Mike's wife was arranging his funeral when the funeral director asked what she wanted in the obituary. Wife says, well, how much does the obituary cost? Director says, $1 per word. Wife says, okay, well, just write, Mike died. The director felt that was a little too short and offered her a special discount. Director said, go ahead and add a few more words. Wife smiled and said thanks, and she said, great. Then write, Mike died, truck for sale. Big B says, terrible. It was terrible. And that will officially do it for me tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in as always, and I do appreciate everyone watching. Hopefully tomorrow we'll see some changes. The good news is, again, we're at the peak of the heat for a typical summer, and we'll start to cool off here. Get through next week, we should see some improvement in that. So that will officially do it for me tonight, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow night with another live update. And just a reminder, have a great Tuesday. Don't go outside if you don't have to. Stay out of the heat. And if you do, be sure to stay cool. Good night.